Good evening. Let's ferret among the creeping tentacles of bureaucracy and take a look at how the papers are preserving that 7 and 6-penny word, freedom.
Broadcasting is too important to be left to the broadcasters.
Have you ever heard such rubbish? But let's cast a glance at today's Sun.
New Vatican storm over Jackie.
What are the papers trying to do? Stir it up?
Sterling shame why it won't happen again.
A running fight between the Express and the Record over a 9-year-old boy.
One humbug, mugwump of a paper, has constantly made a virtue of the fact that it has never published the name of the boy or the foster parents.
The Daily Record can't have liked that word, mugwump.
But with a rare, holier-than-thou petulance, it has claimed all along it has known all the facts.
Monday's Record carried a leader.
At the very start of this unhappy story, the Daily Record was aware of the full facts about the boy we called Sid.
And the Record takes a mighty bash at its rival.
More than 20 columns of the Express have been filled since April with a campaign of abuse against the local authority.
Does it help the named or unnamed boy? I doubt it. But at least we can see that dog does bite dog. And in a week when we've had a parliamentary bill presented to prevent our four-legged friends mauling postmen's trousers...
The Savoy Hotel last night sedately abandoned its last-ditch battle against the dreaded...
Say that word again?
Dreaded trouser suit.
What had happened in the antediluvian past?
Women in trouser suits were given their walking orders.
A sort of freedom for women. And yes, I'm coming to the continuing story of Jackie Kennedy, but Women's Week and another stalwart in the news.
Judith Hart given key post in cabinet.
Another bit of freedom and emancipation. The Glasgow Herald tells about her job, the job that Harold gave her.
To study nationalism and student unrest.
Mrs. Hart is 44, charming, talented and attractive, and she's now our...
Paymaster General.
Or shouldn't it be Paymistress General? But let's get back to a bit of femininity.
The minister wears scent and eyeshadow and lipstick.
Says the Record's Ellen Graham, going on.
A fact to which many of my colleagues have reacted with surprised delight and yelps of...
Good God, she's got ankles.
Yes, I'm coming to Mrs. Onassis. But first, let's look at the possibility of a woman occupying the fortress of 10 Downing Street.
Britain will one day have a woman Prime Minister.
And who says so?
Mr. Richard Crossman.
Who is our new Minister of Social Services, and a more deft handler of the spoken word would be hard to find.
Why Britain is likely to have a woman PM.
And why, according to Mr. Crossman?
The day will come when it is realised that the qualities required of a Prime Minister are more often found in women.
And what are these qualities?
A good judge of character, ability to listen, the knowledge of when not to act and when to act.
So who are the two front runners in the race? Hey, Jude.
Judith won't wear trendy skirts.
Mrs. Hart draws the line, so to speak, at attracting under 21 votes to Labour.
I have no intention of turning up my skirts another 2 inches to be trendy.
Well, that's one candidate that won't compromise on her way to the hot seat. And what of the other?
Be Premier, not me, says Barbara.
Now, Mrs. Castle is not the coyest of women. She's got passionate ambition. She wouldn't be there if she hadn't. But...
I have no ambition to be Prime Minister.
But asked if she wouldn't come round to it if the country wanted a woman Prime Minister, she thought for a long time, then hedged mightily.
I'm not answering that one.
Which is a lady's privilege. Yes, we'll get to Greece and £10 wedding rings from millionaires in a minute. But talking of female privilege...
Undergraduates at Trinity College, Cambridge, are to be allowed to take girlfriends to dinner at the college.
Bully for them. And what makes this snippet addedly newsworthy?
The Prince of Wales is studying at the college.
And so to the Prince of Wealth and his bride.
Mrs. Onassis.
First picture of Jackie's wedding, hand in hand with Aristotle.
It's a beezer of a story. It's got everything. A beautiful woman, a Greek millionaire, the tragic aftertaste of an assassinated president, the outrage of the Roman Catholic Church, police fighting with newsmen trying to storm a private island, tears and jewels and lavish opulence beyond our comprehension, and...
A boatload of journalists ran the blockade, landed on the beach.
And the press?
Sent a bouquet to Jackie.
That bunch of flowers will be on the News of the World expenses sheet. All right, it was a rather obvious ruse to get a foot in the chapel door. Intrusion into private happiness, if you like. But the world was waiting on the story, and newsmen were having to contend with...
Guns guard Wedding Island,
as the Mail said.
Tonight, his personal police moved into action to keep at bay the journalists and gawpers converging on the area from all over the world.
Oh, what's wrong with gawping when you've got a Technicolor set-up like this? But some of the comment in the papers made me heave.
What makes a woman love Harry?
Heaven preserve us, what makes a woman love any man?
Happiness is being married to an older man.
The Sunday Mail, illustrating its point with photographs of disparately aged couples, while the Daily Mail had a similar theme.
Their hearts belong to Daddy.
According to the Mail,
French girls apparently don't much fancy trendy young men.
there was the element of the ridiculous in the nuptials.
Dance of Isaiah round altar.
An old Greek custom, and rain poured down on the happy couple. But that wasn't bad, because it went...
Future fertility and riches.
Well, neither of them are short of a few bob. And tonight's Evening Citizen proclaims...
Onassis may lose his citizenship.
something to do with his tenuous Argentine connection. Then we have a few sober newspaper words.
If she wants to marry Mr. Onassis, it's none of my business.
George Gale in the Mirror, with whom I thoroughly agree. But he goes on to talk of 90 fare-paying passengers being thrown off a plane on the Olympic airline controlled by Onassis.
It is this sort of thing that makes the rich nasty. It's this sort of use of their power that is both ignorant and offensive.
Then the ecclesiastics move in.
The church may now brand her
A public sinner.
Poor Jackie. From eminence to excommunication. But she's got a friend in Cardinal Cushing, the 73-year-old Archbishop of Boston. Today's Mail quotes him.
The idea of saying she's excommunicated, that she's a public sinner, what a lot of nonsense.
And the good Cardinal draws his justification from the deity himself.
Only God knows who is a sinner and who is not.
And he goes on angrily.
Why can't she marry whoever she wants to marry?
Why not indeed? The cartoonist had a marvellous time.
Darling, what a wonderful wedding present. The new Queen Elizabeth is my personal yacht.
And Franklin in the Mirror took up the impossible wealth theme with the happy couple on a spaceship headed for the moon.
He's romantic, secluded, and if you like it, I'll buy it.
But if Jackie is gently shackled to the man of her choice, let us beware of any attempt to shackle us by the politicians.
The politicians and television.
The Financial Times and the Express, Tim Hewitt, who has skillfully produced about 1,000 political and current affairs programmes, said of Wedgie Ben and Dick Crossman,
Both were talking a lot of pompous nonsense.
the row over the so-called triviality of TV politics. Let's hear the main quote again.
Broadcasting is too important to be left to the broadcasters.
A daft remark by our Wedgie, which brought an immediate and definite response from Ray Gunter.
Ben frightens me.
And me. But let's give the last word on the subject to Mr. Peter Black of the Daily Mail.
If the public has learned a contempt for politicians, it is through their appearances on television, not through television's handling of them.
Freedom is precious. Let's keep it. Good night.